tell you what, I haven't had a big can in front of my mouth like this for a while. Woo. G'day guys. So the most popular topic I get asked questions about at the moment is stuff relating to shares. So what I've done is I've compiled I don't know how many questions are here, maybe 30 of the most popular questions I get, and I'm going to go through and answer them for you. First of all, question 1 from Zoe. What is a share? Good question. A share is part ownership of a company. When we're talking about shares in the investing sense, like here, I think we mean big publicly traded companies. So one share in a company might be $20, and you might have 1/25 million of the company. Next question. How many shares can I get for $1,000? It's sort of like saying how many shirts can I get for $1,000? It really depends on the shirt. So I think overall, $1,000 is a good amount of money to start investing shares with, but I think you can't really answer that question. You could get 2 shares, 1,000 shares, or 2,000 shares. It depends on the size of the company and how many shares there are and how much the shares cost. Should I put all of my money into one company or into lots of different companies? Okay, that's a really good question. So what you're talking about is called diversification, which is when you split your money up into lots of different things. It's actually generally a good idea to split your money up or diversify. The reason for that is it lowers what's called risk. So if you have shares in one company and the company has a bad year or an accounting scandal, or it turns out the CEO spent all the money on drugs, or they go broke, you lose your money. If you put your money into 20 different companies, it's far less likely that every single one will have some sort of disaster before them. So it's much better to split it up into maybe, if you've only got $1,000, maybe 2 companies to start with. What does a share look like? Is it like the golden ticket from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Do I get a physical certificate? Where do I keep them? Where are all the shares kept? All right, I'm gonna put those all into one question. So back in the day, you got a fancy certificate that said you had the shares. Now we're in 2020, you don't get that anymore. Your name just gets added to a registry and you jump online and you can see where the shares are and the price of them. So no, when you buy shares, all you get's an email. Is there any other way to look at shares besides just that screen with the green and the red on it? No, that's how you tell the price and which direction the share's going. I mean, I guess you could make like a nice little graph if you wanted. But no, that's called a trading screen, and that's how you see shares. Are shares all different prices, or are they all the same? Good question. No, shares are all different prices. So it depends on the size of the company and how many shares there are in the company. So for instance, a big company like, say, a bank might have 500 million shares, all at $50 each, because it's a huge company. Whereas a little company might only have 10 million shares, each at 10 cents each. So the short answer is don't get caught up on the actual price of the share, whether it's $50 or $47 or $20. That doesn't really matter too much. It's more the percentage you get from each of them. So I'll explain that a little bit more. So if you have a $100 share that gives you $10 a year, that's a 10% return. If you have a $50 share that gives you $10 a year, that's a 20% return. So it's more about the percentages than it is the actual number itself. How do I know what the next big thing is to put my money in, like Tesla? Okay. What you're talking about is called share speculating. That's when you have a hunch that you think a share or a company is going to go up, so you buy some and hope to ride the wave. If you don't know a ton about shares and you're not really interested in finance, you're not a huge nerd about share trading, I wouldn't worry about doing this. All I would do is find really big, stable companies and put money into those. Companies like Coles or Woolworths, large companies that consumers always need to use. That's much safer and easier than trying to dig through and figure out what you think the next big thing is. Because every time there's a company that's the next big thing, there's also 30 that aren't. Is there a place I can go to see all the shares, add the shares to a cart, and buy them like on ASOS? Sort of. You go to a share trading platform, and then you can type in the share codes and have a look at the prices, and you can just click buy. So I guess the share trading platform's sort of like ASOS, but you don't get anything in the post. You just get some shares. You can't afterpay them. So there you go. I hope I've answered some questions for you about shares. If you want to ask me any more questions, just find me on Instagram at MoneyCatLovesYou or Twitter at MoneyCatLovesYou and send the questions through. And I'll try my best to answer them and not be rude to you if I think they're dumb.